To First Strike, First Look here on a Tuesday as we get ready for Saturday's card, with the main event being Marlon Vera against Dominick Cruz. Should be a very intriguing matchup there, and really overall a sneaky good card. To help us break it all down here on a Tuesday, let's bring in our guy Lou Finocchiaro. Of course, you can follow him on Twitter as I do at Gamblue, and the host of the Bout Business Podcast. Lou, great to have you on here on a Tuesday. And you and I were talking a little bit before we were getting ready to do this show here, and it really is a deep card and some fights that are being carried over from last week that didn't make it for one reason or another. So really, this is one of those cards that might be sneaky good for the people out there that might not be aware here on a Tuesday.
Well, I first of all, Dave, thanks so much for having me on. I watch this show each week. You do a great job. You and Britton do a super job, and Jordan, last week's guest, was great. So getting into this is great Tuesday. It's such an early look in the week that the feelings aren't quite refined, but they're all there. And so as far as these fights are concerned, it's a totally underrated card. And there are 5 fights. The top 5 fights on the card are all very bettable fights.
Well, let's get right to the top then, because when you talk about Dominick Cruz here, this is obviously one of the best bantamweights we've ever seen in the history of the sport, and now advancing in age here, taking on Marlon Vera, and he's a decided dog in this one here on a Tuesday. So right now I'm seeing at DraftKings plus $1.80. Marlon Vera, if you want to go with Cheeto, he is minus 225 right now. What do you make of Vera here against Cruz? Do you think that this right now is a little bit too big of a price, or do you think it's going to move in the direction of Cheetah?
Well, the way I track it, Dave, that it opened, the Vera was closer to 185. So it's already gone up a little. I think it continues to go up if I'm monitoring how I think the fight will go and how I think the public's going to react to it. It's going to be this is going to be a fascinating fight because they're giving Cruz a guy that's kind of like his last 2 opponents, experienced guys that are going to come at him. And that's what Vera's going to do. The issue for Vera will be he needs to get active early, even though this is a 5-round fight. And for Cruz, at 37 years old, after the 2 major knee surgeries and bodily attrition he's gone through, is he going to be able to be athletic enough to maintain the force field around him that it's going to take to be able to stick and move against a young Ecuadorian fighter that's aggressive and is going to try and corner him into the fence and inflict damage?
And I look at this too, because I think for those that remember the best days of Dominick Cruz, you wonder if he still has those days going forward. It feels like a knockout or a stoppage submission from Cruz would be unlikely. And it's because you look at the price tag here and the total right now, the over 4.5 here, minus $1.95, the under solid money here. If you think it's going to be a stoppage one way or the other, plus $1.60. Is there a pathway for the Dominator to get a stoppage, or would it have to be by decision if you wanted to go with the underdog?
Yeah, and that over 4.5 open 160 got steamed right to almost 200. So you know what people are thinking, and so the market thinks that Dominick doesn't have much power, and I think that he doesn't have enough power to crack an egg, for crying out loud. Dominick's deal's going to have to be that his fight is mental. His fight is with his legs and the force field, and to try and play matador to a charging bull, get the South American kid hot, bothered, frustrated. That's Dominick's game. Can he do it at 37? I think that one thing we know about Vera, he's fought less time than Cruz. He holds the bantamweight record for most finishes as a UFC bantamweight. Oh, by the way, Vera's not been finished. So it's a tall order for Dom.
Yeah, he is as tough as they come. We saw that with the Sugar Show. He found out firsthand just how tough Cheeto Vera is. So you can understand why right now that money has come in on Vera here at minus 225. You mentioned how maybe this card, some of the names on here, you look at a guy like David Onama now. He is a big favorite here, minus 275 against Nate Landwehr. What do you make of Onama now as the featured event of the evening here and almost a $3 favorite. Do you think this line moves in his favor, or is this the best number you're going to get right now if you think David's going to get the job done here in his early UFC career?
They're going to steam Onama. And there's interesting fight strains here. Landwehr beat Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein a week ago beat Mason Jones, a 155er. Onama's debut fight in the UFC, he went up to 155, fought Jones, and fought him competitively. Onama is a killer striker and a top 5 talent. Soon as James Krause teaches him some takedown defense and how to handle some wrestling. He's extremely green right now. He's green as a cucumber. This kid Landwehr, the win against Klein makes him legit. Now, he's also a little chinny, Mr. and Mrs. Ross. That means if you hit him early, he goes out because he's been out a couple times in the first round. And Onama is profuse with power. So another fight with great stylistic matchups. I tell you, if Landwehr sees round 2, Onama's in big trouble.
I'll tell you this, Mom and Dad are always picking up what you're putting down, Lou. So chinny is not a good thing, as Mom and Dad are now quite well aware. Let's talk about Devin Clark here. A small dog here, plus $1.35 against Azamat Mirzakhanov here. Mirzakhanov is minus $1.55. Which way do you think the line might move before we get to Saturday?
Yeah, we're late. That line been moving. It opened Mirzakhanov about 160 or so. It went up. Actually, at the Apex yesterday, 20 hours ago, I just checked before the show, I released Devin Clark at plus 145, as high as I think that plus money was going to go. It's now 135, and it's going to continue to drop until I think fight time. And so I would advise people to get, if you're interested in Clark, get him early. Why would you be interested in him? You'd be interested in him because even though he's 7-6 in the UFC, he's fought killers. He's got some great momentum going for him. He also left familiarity of the Midwest, went to Denver to train with Blades, Gaethje, Usman at Team Elevation to get ready for this fight. Momentum, experience, it all adds up to a real advantageous position for a guy that I think is going to win a fight against Mirzakhanov, who's a Russian 11-0 fighter, but he comes in off a win against is Kui. Please excuse that pronunciation. He comes in when he was getting beat in the fight and he got a flash knee knockout. I just think Clark's going to be too much for him, and we'll see a PhD in MMA awarded on Saturday when Clark beats Mirzakhanov.
Oh, I love it. The education might happen there, and we'll see if Devin Clark can cash with that plus price tag right now. We mentioned how this card is interesting because there's a lot of fights on it that were scheduled for other fights, right? Other fight cards that got canceled for one reason or another. Cynthia Calvillo against Nina Nunes is one of those. Calvillo right now still $1.70 favorite over Nunes at plus $1.45. Does it change any way that you might have handicapped it the first time around, Lou, when it gets backed up a couple weeks or as much as a month in this case?
Yeah, not in this one, because the questions about Calvillo still remain. We don't know her motivation. She used to be just a savage, mean tiger, but she incurred some beatings fighting up too high, and she finds herself really kind of a rudderless ship. I don't know what to expect from her. Nina Nunes, we can project all kinds of mismanaged focus. She's a mom. We just saw her wife or significant other, at least, Amanda Nunes fight, and Nina was there with the child. And so there's distraction in their life. That said, Amanda Nunes looked pretty good. The new camp looked like it was working pretty good for her. It's probably working pretty good for Nina Nunes. And Nina Nunes is a tiger. I think if she's motivated, she could be live. It's early in the week. I plan on peeling the onion back a little bit more on this particular fight.
You know, it's so interesting, Luke, because this is a fight that we did last week on First Strike with Ariana Lipsky, the Queen of Violence, against Priscilla Cachoeira. And you liked Cachoeira a week ago, and now Lipsky did not make weight. The fight gets postponed until this week now. Lipsky still is $1.90 favorite. I'm assuming, does she still have to give up some of the purse? And the reason why I asked that question, Lou, is I look at motivation sometimes, and it looks like, if there's no penalty for her missing the weight, they basically gave her an extra week to make weigh-ins and make this weight now. Does that change anything from the Lipsky side here? Because I know you liked Caceres a week ago.
Yeah, that's great you mentioned that. Not only that, but we caught Caceres plus 150 at the highest price she was all week, and then it closed when Lipsky missed weight and the fight fell apart, where Caceres was plus 135 or so. Now, a week later, hocus pocus, it comes out, and now you're getting Caceres plus 160. This one smells to me. But at the end of the day, I have to handicap the fight and not the market move. I trust my ability to handicap the fight, and I still handicap this fight as Caceres being rough, round, premeditated, slow, but mean as a junkyard dog. And Lipsky is a little more precise and proper, and I don't think she matches up well at all. I don't give a hoot about the reprice or what anyone in Vegas is trying to do. They're making you pay more on Lipsky this week than last week, that's for sure. I don't care. I think they're chasing a puff, because I think Caceres now is even more PO'd that they're giving Lipsky every chance to compete, and Lipsky doesn't belong in the UFC. And it's debatable whether Caceres does, because the loser of this fight's gone and the winner probably remains. I'm still banking with Caceres. I'm going to wait and get her at the highest price.
That is fascinating takeaway right there. So, again, before you make those wagers, realize those price differences from a week ago. Look, the first fight of the night, you got Ode Osborne back in there against Tyson Nam. You've got Gerald Meerschaert is going to be fighting on this card against Bruno Silva. You really have a lot. Angela Hill is back in there against Lupita Godinez here. So is there any other fight on this card that really captivates you on a Tuesday?
Yeah, the stylistic matchup between Meerschaert and Silva is fascinating. Silva's a guy that just got done competing with Alex Pereira, took him to a decision and fought, or maybe got beat late. But I mean, he gave him everything. I was so impressed. I was able to attend the press conferences for that fight. This Silva is a bad hombre. That said, when he gets beat by sub. 5 of his 7 losses have been via submission. What is Meerschaert? Meerschaert has no power, no striking ability. But if he can find a way to run around the ring like a track specialist and find his way into the second round and get this fight to the ground, it's Meerschaert's fight. I have to regard at this early stage in the week, Meerschaert as a live dog. I just want to see where that line goes.
Plus 240 right now if you want to take Gerald Meerschaert here. Let's see where that moves on Friday. And Lou will be back with us on First Strike on Friday to help further break down these numbers. But Lou, before we go, the Bout Business podcast, when the people listen in each week, what do they get?
Yeah, we're on a tear. Finally, it's been a slow start, but you get a synopsis of the week's bets with as well an accounting of what we've done in the past. Moving forward week by week, we keep count of everything. It's about business, and so we invite you to listen in. But I can tell you, if you're listening to these shows, First Strike and First Take, you're getting most of the information anyway. And once again, Dave, want to appreciate you and Veasan and Britton for having me on. These are great, awesome opportunities.
Lou, you're the best. And again, your picks are anything but chinny, Mom and Dad. Very solid each week on the Bout Business podcast. Lou, already looking forward to Friday. Thanks for taking the time here on First Strike, First Look.
Thanks, and good luck to everybody.
There he is, everybody, Lou Finocchiaro. So join us again on Friday for the full hour of First Strike on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.